With infinite complacence, people went to and fro over the earth about their little affairs, serene in the assurance of their dominion over this small, spinning fragment of solar driftwood, which by chance or design man has inherited out of the dark mystery of time and space.
Hello, everybody, and happy Halloween tomorrow. I hope that you all have a fun and safe holiday, especially if you are taking those kiddos out and about. So I know that every year with Into the Fray, I have the All Halloween special with Steve Stockton and Cisco Murdoch. And you might be wondering where in the heck that is. Due to some scheduling, they're not really issues, but just scheduling this year, that is not going to happen. However, Steve and Cisco will join me for a creepy Christmas edition, dark Christmas, whatever you want to call it. Creepy Christmas. That just rolls off the tongue. That's what we're going to do this year. And my Halloween special will be opening my supposed haunted doll that is supposed to be a positive young lady spirit who is artistic and kind. But when I showed the photo to many of my Patreon members and others who are sensitive, unlike myself, they got the complete opposite impression of what or who was attached to this doll. So I will be unboxing and showing her on a Patreon live chat, actually on Halloween. So on the 31st, that is what I am doing for Halloween. Now, who knows if anything will come of me purchasing this doll. So if you would like to join us for that live chat, it is on video, blah, blah, blah. You can come on with me. We're going to see what's doing with the doll. And I will say that for a lot of these Patreon video chats, things do tend to go down. They really do. Patreon.com/IntoTheFray if you would like to join in and, of course, get all the other bonus content that is over on that platform. We have a great time, have a great community over there. And a huge thanks, of course, to everyone who supports me on Apple Podcast Premium and Patreon. You guys have no idea how much it helps keep this going, because this is a one-woman show, 100%. So thank you so much. And without further ado, let's get to this week's episode. Happy Halloween. On this episode of Into the Fray, I welcome Paul Dulski on with me, and he is of Haunted Vermont. And while we are doing the intro and saying our hellos, you can go check him out at hauntedvermont.org. And he said he's got a couple of interesting paranormal experiences to share with us. So, Paul, welcome on the show.
Thank you for having me. And yes, it's an honor to share my story, because the first one that I kind of want to share is so short and simple, but it's one of those ones where I've been thinking about it in the back of my head for years. And every time I try to figure out a way to maybe categorize it, I just can't, because it's just so weird. So I still don't even know what to think of it.
See, and I love that. I love that you are willing to, because some people go, well, I don't have a long experience, or I can't fill a 2-hour show, whatever it is. That never bothers me. And I hope that people will just reach out no matter what, because just like you said, with my own personal experience that got me into all of this, it's a 5-second sighting. I mean, I flesh it out a little bit more and describe it, but it's very short and sweet compared to a lot of other encounters. So people should not be shy to reach out, because they feel like, well, I can't fill an hour show. You would be surprised the questions that I will come up with, or maybe you won't be. You'll be annoyed maybe about how much I can ask about what you consider a very short encounter. But anyway, before you get into those couple of encounters, Paul, would you tell everyone a bit about yourself and how you got started in all of this? Of course, unless that's, the encounter we're about to talk about.
That's sort of the encounters, actually, that kind of really spiraled down the this, I guess, interesting phenomenon, really. But yeah, sure, I can share a little bit and then go right into it if you'd like.
Absolutely.
So basically, from the stories I will be sharing, kind of made me start to question, everything around us. And I think we all need to start going back to what our teachers used to tell us when we were, kids. Question everything. And that's sort of like what I did. And by the time August 26th of 2012 rolled around, I started Haunted Vermont because I had so many things happen in like my little life that it was just like, how could I not ignore the signs? You know what I mean? So that's basically what pursued me to know or try to find out what is actually, out there.
Well, yeah, jump on in there whenever. So set us up with where this happened, how old you were, all the good backstory stuff as well, if you wouldn't mind.
Well, I don't really know the age, unfortunately, which most of the time that's what you hear a lot of. And that's just because I really don't remember. I just know. So from the very beginning, I was at did it like with my original house where I grew up, and did it before my family got divorced and all that fun stuff. But anyway, basically what happened was I was like a young age. I'm just gonna say for a record here, maybe third or fourth grade. So I mean, kind of young for sure. So what is that, like 5 or 6, really? We'll just say that for the example here, I guess, as we go into it. But it starts off, I should say, with like my room, which is on the second floor, our old house, and the way my from what I recall for like my house is like where the front door is, there's a hallway where you can just basically use this hallway to kind of go in the kitchen. There's also like a little side room on the right hand side there, and but the thing that really should stick out is as you enter the front door, immediately to your left, there's stairs to go up the stairs. So once you go up the stairs, that's where like all our bedroom is, where our other bathroom is upstairs and stuff like that. But my room would be like if you head up the stairs on the left and take a right and a couple steps to the right again and to the left, that's like where my door is. It was like that weird pattern, I guess. So anyway, and we'll get more to about like a second stairs in the second experience. But for now, basically from there you got my room, you got my parents' room, and then you got like if you went up the stairs to the second floor, which to say you're gonna go straight, that would have been my sister's room, and then to the left would be the great big bathroom, as I call it, or used to call it. So from there, let's just dive into one particular night where, from what I can even recall, it was so dark. I don't remember a moonlight. I don't even remember seeing stars. For all I know, maybe it was like a cloudy evening. But what really makes me look at this every time is this, Shannon, and that is, and I bet you've done it too, like what a place where you're familiarized with, right? You can go back and remember where everything is, maybe your old bedroom, for example, right? So, for I guess what to say for the sake here, we should all remember when we were kids where our bedroom door is. Like, that's not hard to miss, And especially like the closet door. But in my room, what was weird about it is you got bedroom door, and then what to say on the other side of the wall, because it's almost like a square shape, but right around what to say 2 feet maybe, because it was pretty close. That's where my closet was. So from there, I had my door shut one night, and I basically was just like woken up for some weird reason, and I just remember feeling like dread or something, and what made it even worse was like going back to the bedroom door thing is I should know where it is, but I could not find the door. I felt like I could not find the doorknob or anything. And then I started like what I thought was banging on the little chunk of wall there because, like I was trying to mention here, the door and the closet were so close to each other, you couldn't really miss it. So what I thought was banging on the wall, I thought I'm actually banging on the door, but I still not could not find the doorknob. And I'm like, moving my hands up and down, left and right, trying to feel for the doorknob because I mean I'm in the pitch black. I can't even see anything, but yeah, I just could not feel anything. I have no idea how much time has passed, but from there, it almost seemed like whatever was going on broke, and my mom opened up the door on the other side. And what was interesting is where she opened up the door and where I was literally like a couple inches from where the doorknob should have been. So basically, what I'm trying to say is where I've been feeling and going up and down, left and right all this time, I should have been feeling this doorknob for my bedroom door, but I could not. But ever since then, I cannot figure out what happened, like why I could not find the doorknob.
Yeah, and we hear a lot about these feelings of dread, even though you can't probably see anything. You just know something is really, really wrong. So, Paul, this house, had it ever been remodeled? Was it always a I'm assuming it was always a 2-story home, but was there any remodeling that had gone on at any point in time? Do you know?
Um, Honestly, I'm not sure. I just know that it wasn't just our house. Like, I don't know if I would say attached to it, but I guess you could maybe say it was attached to it. Like it was like a big, large family house, I should say. Like, so there was basically, you could say one house attached to it, another house, and then like two more maybe, like two more little houses or something. I can't remember, but it was like one of those weird type of what do you call them? Like maybe duplex, maybe or something. It's a interesting house. I don't really see that many of that kind of uh layout anymore. But like that was where like my grandparents lived and a few other people lived, I guess for what you're asking. But after we had, all this moved out and stuff, there had been remodeling going on afterwards of that. But from what I can recall from living there, there was no remodeling.
So it's almost like you were stuck in some kind of an alternate, you were there, but not there. Like you're in an alternate dimension for a few moments.
Yeah, exactly. It was like I was just trapped in this little box, and that's just why I could not maybe find it, and that's why maybe it was so pitch black. But like even when I was trying to remember if I could even see outside the window or something, I can't even remember that because it was just so dark. It was like one of those like abnormal nights where it was like so dark I couldn't even see anything or even my hand in front of my face.
And I know that you were really young and this was a while ago, but do you recall once your mother finally opened the door because you're banging on stuff? Do you remember the conversation or what you said to her or what she said to you?
Yeah, she was wondering why I was banging on the on the wall, and I was just like, I could not find the doorknob. I was even saying like I just could not find the doorknob, and honestly, from there it was kind of just like just go back to sleep, probably because it was so late in the night. So, and I probably disturbed their sleep a little bit, but yeah, I mean, that's all I really recall was just basically saying like I just could not find the door. I could not find the doorknob to open it up for some weird reason.
Yeah, like it wasn't even there. That's creepy.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like that's why I every time I like think about this, it's just like, was it even there? Like did I even it's almost like you're second guessing. Like, did really feel to make sure? But I did. Like I probably should have mentioned it too. But for now, like for the sake here, like yes, I put my hand up against the what I thought was the wall or door or the even the what do you want to call it, the dividers of the walls. And I tried to feel because like I was trying to mention, like every kid should remember where their door is basically. And you just can't find it. I couldn't even find it for the life of me.
See, and what you say is so correct because it doesn't take long if you move into a new space. It's your bedroom. That's where you're going to be in the dark, right? You're not going to be bumping around in the living room in the dark for the most part. That's dangerous. But in your bedroom, you get to know how many steps and which way left or right you need to go, a little ways here, a little ways there. But for you not to find anything, it is a little bit strange. Because especially as a kid, you could be maybe even a little bit afraid of the dark or something like that. Do you recall having any night terrors or bad dreams prior to this, or is this the first time you were scared and something weird happened?
See, that's the thing that I'm always trying to remember is what did I have nightmares before this happened, or was it after this incident when I started to, get these weird like feelings at nighttime, like, oh my God, like what if that happened again? But this time nobody actually answered, you know what I mean? So I really don't know how to properly answer that question.
Yeah, no problem. Do you remember if you, even that night, did you keep sleeping in there?
I had to in my bedroom, but yeah, I mean, I eventually settled myself down, but because afterwards it almost seemed like if there was a cloud in the sky, it started to penetrate light through the window or something because I could actually start to see again. And to go back to like what you were saying about the layout of your bedroom and stuff. So basically, my layout of the bedroom would have been if you stepped into my door and if you look straight ahead, that's where the window would have been on the other side, right to your left, like I was saying, like 2 feet from my door. That's where the closet was. And if you go to the right, that's where my dresser would have been, right next to my bed, which was pretty much right in the middle of the bedroom. And then on the other side, that that did have some space left. I had one of those like old fashioned school desks that you basically kind of have like that flip top, nothing like classrooms have anymore.
So I understand this is Vermont and there's a lot of weather that moves through there. And as you said, it could have been cloudy that night. But do you recall any time around that incident where, like the next night or even, the next week, because then you can kind of gauge on a clear night where the moon would be without it shifting too much, but maybe within a week or so of, oh, look how bright my room is, and I know the moon also moves, but usually there's some kind of an ambient light if you have some kind of a moon or any street lights that might come through. Do you recall waking up and going, now this is how the room kind of should have looked that weird freaky night when I couldn't find the door and it was utterly pitch black?
I get what you're trying to say, but what's hard to answer this is from where my window was, it's facing the neighbor's house. We hardly have, there's one, maybe one or two street lights on the street, so not very much. And from the way my window was also facing, there was another type of big tree to what would be like if you're looking at the window or looking out the window, the tree would be like maybe 10, 12 feet to the left, like right by the road there.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I almost feel like there's too many objects that could help or that could help prevent some light to really shine in.
Right.
But to get to what you are trying to ask, there was some nights where it did feel like, especially like during wintertime, I feel like when it does seem to be brighter, quote unquote, at night. Yeah, that seemed to illuminate into the room better, where I felt like maybe it was just like, oh yeah, this seemed better.
How nice. You had the poltergeist tree outside your window a little ways away, huh?
Yeah, pretty much.
Like once you see that movie, you're like, that tree needs to come down, okay?
Or the one from Sleepy Hollow. I mean,
Oh gosh.
the blood tree. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that gory tree. That is so great. Even all the
Yeah, that's my
remakes with the
favorite.
extra CGI, you're like, woo, that was gory. Okay, I like it.
Come on, tree.
Yeah, we're dark
Yeah.
like that though. We like that stuff. So
Yeah, we do.
So how did that affect you? And I understand, parents, they're like, oh, come on, it's a bad dream. Big deal. You couldn't find your door. But to you, you're going, there was something else, because when you have that primal feeling of dread, that's where it's of more interest to people like us because something was telling you that something was wrong, and then you get up and then it becomes even more freaking wrong, right? So
Yep.
how did that affect you after that, or did it?
It really didn't, to be honest. It stuck with me for a few days for sure because it was just, maybe because I was trying to wrap my head around it because I was like, why couldn't I find my own damn doorknob? I'll probably will say it 5 more times. Like, I know the way out of my room, so how can you not miss the how could you not find a doorknob, basically, is what I'm trying to say. So but yeah, from here I would say it wasn't that bad. Moving forward though, there was some other incidents where I remember when my grandpa my grandpa died in 95, and I remember that was the first time I got to learn like what death was, basically. And that was hard for me because a kid trying to understand what death is probably the most hardest thing you could try to wrap around a kid's brain, especially being so young. And so here's another story I don't share, but this is nice and short anyway. So here you go, Shannon. Two for the price of one, or three or whatever. Anyway, so my mother, I think it was around that holiday season, either Halloween or Christmas. I can't exactly remember when it came into play, but my mother bought the freaking Ouija board quote game. And from there, my sister and I used it. But what was strange is my grandfather's name was also named Paul because I was named after my father's dad, basically. I just remember when we went to use the Ouija board, we ended up asking like, who are we talking to? And it spelled out Paul, Paul, and I'm just like thinking to myself, like, okay, what is going on? So again, like my little kid brain is going like, am I really talking to, like, what should be my grandpa, or who am I talking to? So you could say that's when it really started to somewhat spark of the whole what is going on here? Like, why is just saying Paul? Like, unless is he trying to call me out because I'm Paul? So it was one of those moments where you wanted to get clarification. We did, because we asked it to say yes or no. Like, are you talking like your name is Paul? And it said yes. And we made sure like you're not trying to refer me, like me myself, to, and it went to no. And that's when it made me realize. So yeah, but of course with instructions back in the day, I don't even remember if we closed out the Ouija board right or what, but I think I forced my sister to try to get it to say goodbye anyway. But because yeah, that's just my little Ouija board story.
You're,
I don't really touch Ouija board stores, Ouija boards anymore.
okay, that was going to be my question is, have you used them since? And not really, huh?
No, no, not really. The last time I've been in a room with a Ouija board, let's just say that was even more creepier than mine. And I was just sitting in the doorway watching the other people play out the Ouija board at that time, even.
I remember using a Ouija board, and as you say, to close it out, or if it wasn't active, at the time, you would take the clear plastic part of the planchette and pop it out. And
Yep, I
you'd
remember
like
hearing that.
blow on it or wave it around as if, I don't know what the hell that's supposed to do, but I remember trying that. That's just some silly stuff. But yeah, Ouija boards are fun, that's for sure. But I do absolutely feel like because of the intention behind it, that you can certainly get in touch with some very dark things that aren't pretending to be, they're pretending to be light and love and airy things and positive things,
Hmm.
and some sweet young lady that just wants to hang out with you and have your back. But that's not probably what you're talking to.
And that what I'm trying to get at is because we don't, how would I know, like, how was I supposed to know that that was really, my dead grandpa reaching out? I mean, I have no idea. And again, this goes to show kind of like what you're saying with what you to kind of go with the lines of what you were saying, Shannon. So I'll just share this little story too. So when I was observing my other friends at their apartment, I'll just say, we had a skeptic there actually, which is probably the worst thing you could have when you're trying to do a Ouija board session, in my own opinion, just because of what happened. And that is, my friend, it was actually around this time frame, and he wanted to, bust out his board and see what was going on in his apartment because he knew something was going on. But of course, he had the skeptic help him. So anyway, in this room of his, he got like probably 10 people, and that's including me. And he got him and his other friend on the Plancy, and basically they start asking it questions and et cetera and et cetera. We got a name for what sounds like it was a kid trying to communicate. And what really became bizarre about this is we we can watch them trying to close out the session, but it does not want to say goodbye. And it's so we're all trying to be like, you need to say goodbye. We need to let you go. But it was almost like if this really was a kid trying to reach out, it really wanted to talk with quote us or something. But what really made it worse with the skeptic was basically, and I've never seen it move so fast in my life. And basically, it spelt out HELPME so fast that the skeptic raised his hand off the eye, which is what you're never supposed to do until like you closed it out. But he did, and so everybody was so upset, like, "Oh my God, what did you do?" And everybody was just like, basically the skeptic was basically trying to say like, "You did it, you were moving it," and it's like, dude, how could he move it so fast? He only had one finger on it, and you had one finger on it. You tell me how you could move it that fast to spell out "help me." Like, I don't get it. But yeah, that's the story.
Yeah, I love when the skeptics have something happen that they can't quite explain. And they do try. And hey, there's no telling what's really going on, but it is always cool when the skeptic is like, I need my brown pants. Where are they at?
For sure. Yeah, I don't even think he'd even touched the Ouija board ever since that incident.
I bet.
But yeah, but so this next little bit takes place at my friend's farmhouse. And it's one of those type of moments where at this point in time, my curiosity found ghost hunters on TV back in the day. So of course, me and my friend were into that, so we started watching that and et cetera and et cetera. The only thing he just forgot to tell me was if I hear anything during the first time I'm over, to just don't worry about it. There's a ghost in the house or something. Because the first time I went to stay the night at this farmhouse, it it was basically just I didn't realize just how much that was the beginning before everything else that led after that when it became to coming over and visiting his place more. So I'll just start off with just basically saying for the first night is we heard footsteps coming up the again the second story house, but the way his house was laid out, he had you could say he had two ways of getting up there. There was another stairs in the way back of the house, and then there was this stairs that was more towards like his living room, which led into this mini living room or whatever you want to call it, to this little small hallway, which is where the stairs were. And from there, you go up the stairs, and as you go straight, that's just like a guest bedroom that had a bathroom, some windows or like one window in it. And as you come back out to the stairs again, and you go down the hall, there's about two other bedrooms on the right hand side, and then if you keep going straight, it leads you into this bigger room, which I'm not really sure what it was originally before he turned that into a bedroom again. But there was another door that kind of led to like his sister's room. So in a weird way, it almost seemed like all these rooms somehow connected to some sort of other room, if that makes any sense. But they kept that one particular doorway locked. So like the sister couldn't come and like pull a prank on us or something. Or we couldn't go and pull a prank on her if she had guests or something like that. So that's just maybe how kind of with the layout just a little bit. But yeah, I there was basically a night, the first night where I heard footsteps, and then it almost sounded like something crashed. It was just so weird, and I kept asking my friend, I'm like, "What is going on? Like, who is your sister? Like, coming to trying to prank us or something? Like, we should maybe go check it out because this is just weird. Why is somebody just keep going up and down the stairs?" And he's like, "Oh, don't worry about it. Just go back to bed." And I'm just like, "No, I'm not going back to bed. What is going on?" And he's like, "We have a spirit here." And then from that point on, it was just like, "Oh, okay." And then I just passed out because I was just like, "Okay, here we go again," you know. But from there, it just gets bizarre, Shannon. So I just don't know if you want me to just continue into it or if you
Oh,
have
heck yeah.
anything. Okay. So let's see where to begin. Where to begin? There's so much stuff that happened here, even when I wasn't present, because I did have him on my podcast to talk about this because I also wanted to know like what else he had encountered when I wasn't there or when friends weren't over. Like at one point in time before like we came back over to, hang out or sleep over for a party or something, he mentioned there was one night like him and his sister literally watched like a candle floating across the room. And I'm like, "Are you sure nobody's holding on to it?" "No, dude. It was almost like the candle was just levitating above the dresser or wherever it was, almost like somebody was trying to walk with the candle. It was so bizarre. But as far as that goes, he said there wasn't really too much going on until like he had friends over, which was always the weird thing we started to recognize too. And that was one of the jokes that we started to make as we grew up and talked about it more was, "Man, don't you wish we could just like go back in time and just ask our parents to get like a tape recorder or something so we could just record everything that happened?" Because this is like the paranormal dream basically of evidence. And we had it all basically happen to us in a weird way, in one form or another. So just talking about it just doesn't even help at all and give it justice because as you kind of said at the beginning of this, it's just like we at this point everybody's just gonna think I'm full of shit or something, and it's just like, no, that didn't happen. But it's like yeah, it did, and I don't even know how to describe it. It was weird, and we'll get into that after of like what happened later on. But for now, so after that first incident, which I felt like the whatever spirit this was trying to get used to me. It finally got used to me being there for so many times because I used to go there like a lot. We used to hang out. Anyway, there was like a night where it was his birthday. We went to stay the night, and as we went to bed, this this still again makes no sense to me because I feel like we should have either felt somebody moving during the night. We should have either been tripped on and basically, caused some sort of crash simulation of trying to get out of bed to go to the bathroom or something or whatever. But so as we went to bed, we used his great big bed to sleep on, us three. So my friend was at the window. Our other little friend who was like shorter than us, he was in the middle, and I kind of stayed on the side of the bed basically towards the end, I should say, where I should be like on the floor if I were to fall off, basically. By the time we woke up, I was at the window. My friend that was in the middle was where I was, and my friend that was at the window was underneath the bed on the floor.
Oh.
And as we woke up, we're all just like nobody got up. Nobody got up at all. Like, you didn't try getting up, and you just for some reason wanted to, be on the floor underneath your bed. No, why would I want to do that? Why would I want to be under the bed? Yeah, it's like, why did I want to be by the window at the time? I didn't really like being by windows at nighttime because it was too cold for me. I don't really, maybe because I was bigger than our other friend. Maybe that's why he was placed where I was. So, and I was by the window to kind of block the coldness from him or something. Like, again, I don't know. But yeah, that's what happened. That's like probably one of the biggest like eye openers of like what is going on? Like, who is playing tricks with us? Because that's what it felt like later on. It just wanted to play with us, almost like a trickster or something. And from there, though, it was like we had moments where we would basically mess up his entire bedroom. And what I mean by that is like basically throw our clothes on the floor, put our shoes on the floor. We didn't care where they landed. We didn't really tidy up because we're just kids. We're dumb boys. We're just there to have fun because it's our friend's birthday or whatever. But when we would leave leave the bedroom and go downstairs for a while, even if we went outside, just to go play around because there were nice days out, and we would get yelled at if we weren't outside until nighttime came around. But when we would go back into this bedroom that's supposed to be, all messy and stuff, because again, we're just boys in like fourth, fifth grade, and it's all picked up. And we found out all our stuff that was on the floor is mysteriously been chucked in his closet with the door closed even. We and that happened not just once, but it happened a few times. We actually did it to a point where we wanted to make sure it wasn't like his parents, and we completely made sure like when they were out working on the farm or something, we basically scattered stuff around, made it messy, and we're just like, okay, let's just go outside for a little bit and come back in. And we did. And next thing you know, it was all the mess that we made that even the parents should even know that we just did. We destroyed his bedroom, basically. It's all picked up, and certain things, again, that we noticed were just chucked in the closet with the door shut. And we're just like, what is going on? It's almost like whatever this was did not like it to be a mess and wanted to pick up after us because we wouldn't pick up after ourselves. So, and I feel like if it was his parents, we would have been spoken to, but we never were spoken to by his parents that we had a mess, which is just, again, it just adds to the what is going on. So the same bedroom again that I can share for a couple more incidents before he ended up changing bedrooms to the other bigger location, I'll say. But the last two in this particular room was, again, we went there one night. It was for like a sleepover for, I forget, his birthday again, or just having a nice, sleepover hangout thing. By the time we woke up, we looked at his mirror that is, it's one of those mirrors that's like attached to a dresser, basically, just for the the idea here. We had also prior, because our friend used to lock his door, his bedroom door, so that when nobody could try to come in and prank us if they wanted to. So we wake up to a message on that mirror, and it's in melted crayon, which I will go into more details about this melted crayon theory that we have after talking about it. But on the message, which smelled like melted crayon, it wrote I heart, like it wasn't like in, it was the symbol heart is what I should say. I heart, and then my friend's name, which is Justin. We're just kind of looking at Justin going like, dude, whatever this is, apparently adores you or something. Like what is going on here? You know, like where's this melted crayon from? And he kind of looked at us and goes, we don't have this here. I mean, yes, his mother did babysit, and if there was any crayon, they got packed up and left with the kid that she was babysitting. So there was nothing like that ever there at the house once the babysitting was done taking place per se. So we have no idea how this crayon got melted without us even smelling it during the night. And the fact that we couldn't even hear it being written, that makes it more creepy too, I think, because it's just like that's got to be the most silent thing in the world, I feel like, on top of, you know, not smelling the melted crayon. And then finally, the last thing that I can share for this bedroom, and then if you have any questions, Shannon, for this bedroom, I'll let you ask. But so the final encounter here was, it was just me and my friend Justin, and just like I just mentioned with the melted crayon, he locks his doors. So now, with that out of the way, we were up in his room watching a scary, spooky movie because it was October, I believe. Again, it was it, it couldn't have been more perfect in our aspect of us trying to do this, and which was, as soon as a scary moment was about to happen on the movie, his locked bedroom door came not really flying open, but it came swinging open. And we're just dumbfounded now because we don't have his window open, so there's not like a draft, and his hallway had had one window, but that's not even open. And plus, with how far down the hallway it is, I don't think if there even was a wind current, I don't think it still would have been strong enough to open a door, especially a locked door. So from here, this is when we started to become like, you know, the ghost hunters on TV, because we're just like trying to figure it out. It's like, oh, it was, you know, was it just loose enough to get open by, I don't know, by some sort of vibration, I guess, from the floor? Did somebody try to sneak up the stairs to try to pull this prank or something? And we basically kept one person inside the bedroom and locked the door, and one of us outside of it. And we tried to do the theory of, well, let's go down the stairs, wait a couple seconds, so that way we can, you know, feel the environment again of the silence of nobody coming down, disrupting the stairs, is basically what I'm trying to say. So we would basically switch back and forth going up and down these stairs and try to be as quiet as we can, and try to be quiet to get to the door to then try to open the door. But every time we could hear both of us, we are each other, come up these stairs and down the hallway. So there was no way we could be ninja stealthy enough to even get to this door before we could even hear you, basically. Yeah, it's just bizarre and weird at the same time. We still don't understand. We still couldn't wrap our heads around how this locked door just swung open.
Paul, swinging back to the candle floating, because that's a cool one. And I realize that people, I'm just saying the normal height of a normal size human, if you were holding a candle for light, and I understand you can hold a candle over your head or you can hold it lower, but I'm just saying when he was on your podcast, did you ask him at all if the candle was floating at a usual height of if a person was holding a candle, if they were walking through a dark room?
So I think I did, if I memory serves me right. And he mentioned it was basically like at your chest height. It
Mm-hmm.
wasn't above the head at all.
Yeah, so pretty much like somebody holding a candle if they needed to use a candle, right? That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and he said that it didn't happen that often. Again, I'll like I said, going to the end of this, it gets even more interesting too. So, but yeah, are there any other questions, Shannon, about this particular room before I move on to the next
Yes,
bedroom?
actually. Thank you. So the couple of times where the room would be a hellacious mess and then certain things you said were thrown in the closet. Do you recall if each time these whatever things they were thrown in the closet were the same types of things every time?
Yes, yes. It was like our clothes, our shoes at nighttime, like if we went downstairs and like just to go eat dinner or something, we would come back up and all our stuff, like all our messy clothes from the day or and shoes would just be chucked in the closet, pretty much trying to tell us like, okay, kids, you just need to pick up after your stuff. But in this case, I'm just gonna grab it all and just throw it in this closet.
Did you guys ever get, because he had a sister, right? How old was the sister? How much older was she or younger?
She was about my age at the time, so I would say, what would that be, 7 or 8 years old?
Did you ever get a beat on if she was messing with you guys at all?
No, because she was always over at a friend's house.
Oh.
Yeah. So it was basically just me and him usually, and his parents, but they were always out working on the farm. But his sister would most of the time be gone at a friend's house.
Well, that kind of answers that then, because I'm sure that you guys would have been like, oh, so and so's just being silly again, throwing stuff in the closet or writing stuff in crayon on the mirror. But if she's not around, then that would be really strange for parents, because parents, for the most part, want to allay children's fears. We don't want our kids to be scared. So usually that's why parents go, oh, it was a nightmare. Oh, it was this. Oh, it was that. Don't worry. Go back to bed. Shush, shush, shush. So
Right.
I highly doubt that it would be a mother or a father trying to scare Justin and you guys to even sleep peacefully, within his own home. And that's not the norm. I know it's not impossible, but that would just be wild if that was the case, and I'm sure that it wasn't.
No, and you're right, but like I was saying too, Shannon, is we would be able to hear somebody coming up the stairs, even when the first time, like I mentioned, hearing the footsteps, and I was asking my buddy, like, what the hell is going on here? Like, is your sister playing a prank? Is your mom doing something up here? No, no, no. Oh, and going back to that crash, that's the one thing I forgot to mention at the very beginning of the first time hearing these weird footsteps. So I mentioned that crash. So the next morning from the first time, and then I'll see if you have anything else before moving on. But basically, that crash, we found out what it was the next morning. It was one of those old like table that was built out of marble. So basically, a table that you basically need like 2 or 3 or 4 people, because it's heavy, it's marble. But it almost looked like somebody had taken it and, like, kinda slid it off I'll just say the foundation or whatever you wanna call it, and it landed, like, on its side. Now, what and I wanna clarify this too, is it was not his parents because, again, they work the farm life, so they're always out at night. That's why they're kinda sleeping during the day, which is why they kinda not trying to be angry with us, but, like, if we were being too loud, we got told like, hey, we're trying to sleep, can you go outside and play so we can rest? It's just like, oh, I'm sorry, like, and so it got to the point where we knew when they would come in for their daily routine of getting some sleep before having to go back out in the nighttime. So I don't know, again, I don't know how to wrap my head around how this really heavy marble tabletop just slide down to the side, and that way makes it look like it's resting on the side per se. I don't know how to explain that.
Yeah, that is a weird one.
Yeah. It just it's like, even when Justin and I talked about this for our show, we're just like poking fun at it because, like I said, because we have to, because it's just, we even now it's just one of those like, oh my God, I just wish we could just go back in time and just tell both our parents basically just to get let us have a recorder so we can just tape this because of all the stuff that happened. It's just because it was, I would say it was fun because it was just like, okay, I'm here again. What's gonna happen today? So we kind of became that joke. But yeah, before moving on, Shannon, is there anything else that you would like to ask
N-
before the next bedroom?
no, thanks, Paul. Go right ahead.
Okay, so this next bedroom would be where, like I was mentioning, if you're on top of the stairs and you look to your right, and then if you go all the way down the hallway, you would be entering this somewhat bigger room. Which, Shannon, that would be the room where, going back to your question, asking if it was the sister. That's where the door is always locked from that side, not from like the sister's bedroom side. So that's how we knew that it couldn't be the sister if she were to try to pull a prank on us, because that side from her room, you wouldn't be able to unlock it. You would have to literally go around to the other side of the house where we were just to unlock it, just to clarify. But yeah, so this bedroom now is a new place, obviously. So not where the closet chucking messy tidy uppy is going now. From here, we deal with a radio, and that is pretty much all that's happened in this room. It was almost like when my friend Justin switched rooms, it kind of just start to simmer down, if I can say that. Maybe that might be the way I want to go about this moving on. But so the radio, we had this weird. I'm trying to exactly remember all the details, obviously, because it's been so long ago. But I do recall that we had the radio on, and we went to go downstairs for some reason, maybe to go eat or something, or maybe watch some TV or something. But it was almost like clockwork. As soon as we would hit the living room downstairs, it was almost like the whole house was I don't want to say shaken, but it sounded like the music from upstairs now from his new bedroom is louder than how we just left it. So of course we go back up and it's still on and it's quiet. It's it's almost like it turned itself down per se. Basically, we're just like, okay, that's just weird. So we went back down again. Not because I think at this point in time we were just going to grab a few things and come back up. But again, as soon as we hit the living room again, it was like somebody is blaring music, and we're just like, okay, what is going on again? So of course, I said, you stay here. I'm gonna go up and I'm going to turn it up and see if that's the volume it was or something. So I went up there by myself while he stayed in the living room. And of course, like clockwork again, it's nice and quiet. It doesn't sound like it's blaring for the radio. Anyway, so I start to turn up the dial, and I got it to the point where I think it's loud enough. I just just kind of leave it there for a couple minutes, and I turn it back down, and I go back downstairs. And then I was just like, okay, so did you hear it? And especially when I started to turn it down. And he said, yeah. But he, it, when you started to turn it down, though, you could tell it wasn't blaring anymore. And I'm like, okay, well, I did put it to like 2022 volume, which for the type of radio system he had, that's pretty loud. It basically was fine. But as soon as we went back upstairs after grabbing some stuff and just listening and eating and whatever, and then bringing our stuff back down and turned off the radio, we didn't hear the blaring music anymore. So I had the joke, sort of, as as time went on, especially after he had moved out of this place. We figured that whatever was messing with us was basically trying to say, "Hey, you turned on the radio, now turn it off because you're done with it." Kind of like go outside and play or something. It was like it was almost like it was trying to gently, nice way of saying, just turn it off, please. Kind of like going back to the closet thing. It's like, you kids are making a mess. I'm just going to pick it all up and throw it in the damn closet. In this case, it was basically trying to get our attention, saying like, hey, you left the radio on.
I mean, it certainly seems like a female energy. I mean, beyond all the radio and the picking things up that are messy, the I Heart Justin thing is certainly a glaringly obvious, probably female energy thing going on.
Yeah, and that's what we were trying to figure out, and I think we kind of mentioned that in my talk with him. Whether it being on the record or not of that episode, I cannot remember, because we did talk in a little bit, because we were trying to go back and forth of what it could possibly have been, and why it was doing this and stuff. So that's where we started to, like I said, jokingly talk about it and, just have fun with it, because it wasn't trying to hurt us. It was just, looking out after us. It seems like, for us stupid kids, as I'm going to call it, for being so little and young back in the day. And so anyway, that was the only thing that really happened in this bedroom. Now, afterward, he did change his bedroom one more time, and that was the bedroom. Again, I apologize for this, but I just want people to understand where we're at in this way out here. So at the top of the stairs here, you're just going to go straight this time, and that's the bedroom with a little bathroom now. So basically, what I'm trying to get at is, like, instead of going downstairs to go to the bathroom, now there's a bathroom here, basically. So the only thing, again, that happened in this third and final bedroom for us was this mysterious shadow that was outside. It was it was almost like we were just watching outside or something, and we just noticed this weird shadow. And it was so weird that by the time we both wanted to try to debunk this shadow, with the shadow itself kind of looked like it was somebody standing there, but like it was standing in an odd position. Because, and I'll just say this real quick, which is, we did try to debunk this shadow. We did try to do the whole, switcheroo, where one of us stayed in this bedroom, the other actually go out to where the shadow is of the houseway out, which would have been his, like, front house doorway entry, sort of. We could never replicate that shadow that we saw. So we have no idea what the shadow was and how it was even possible to create such a shadow, because it was just so bizarre. But it was almost looking like it was like somebody was just standing in, like, this weird angle, I guess. And just, I don't know if I want to go as far as saying looking up at us, or just standing there for whatever other reason. But yeah, we just could not figure out or reduplicate what we saw.
And just to clarify, this was a first story or second story window?
A second story.
My mind always goes to Salem's Lot when it comes to stuff like that. You're like, what's outside the window? No, don't open the curtains. So how many times did you guys see this shadow?
It was just that one and only time.
Okay. How
And
about
that,
the
yeah, and that's why we tried to recreate it, because it was just so bizarre looking.
how about the parents or the sister? Did you ever hear of anybody else having experiences?
They just didn't talk about it, to be honest.
Yeah.
So if they saw something, I have no idea.
Yeah, and Justin doesn't recall his sister ever being scared or seeing something strange.
Ah, it's been a while. I don't recall for sure, but if I did ask him that, it's probably on the episode that I did, but I just can't think off the top of my
Don't
memory
worry,
right now.
I'm the same way. Sometimes people go, "Oh, remember that guest that said this, or this," and it could be a very specific thing, and it usually is. And I'm like, "Oh, that's cool. Was that my show?" Sometimes, not always. Some things do stand out, but I get it. It when you do a podcast, it all can run together, right? So
Yeah.
so he did move out eventually, or the family moved out.
Yep.
And not that there's always any kind of reason to have a paper trail on a house, but was there ever any research into history of the house or what happened on the land? You know, those timeless questions that we have about land and houses.
As much as I would like to say there was not, unfortunately. And this is where it gets really interesting, actually. So after they had moved out, because at this time when we were there, this house was like a one family house, basically. As soon as he left, this house got turned into a three family house. And from that point on, all nothing ever happened again. Nobody claimed to have had any experiences or anything. It was almost like whatever was there, like, left with them or something, because it gets weirder, because my ever since then, Justin has never had any sort of weird experiences after. So I'm wondering if whatever this was part of that property, but because it got turned into a 3-bedroom house, it didn't know what to do anymore because there were too many people.
So that's cool. So he went back at some point, or maybe you guys did, and spoke to some of the folks that had moved into this duplex situation.
Yeah, I wouldn't say we went there, but like we were contacted from people that have
Oh,
gone, or that did live there, because I one day, like when I started the whole haunted Vermont thing, I remembered these stories, and I went to like the road and I pulled over for a minute and I snapped a photo and I posted it under the haunted Vermont thing, and that's where I learned that, the current owners were like, "Man, I wish I had a goat that would clean up and throw stuff in the closet and stuff, because this is ridiculous," and stuff like that. But yeah, that's how I found out that there was absolutely no more activity. And when I asked him about, where they were now, he had nothing. There's no activity.
see, and that's interesting, right, Paul? Because we talk about stories of when you remodel a home, or even if you tear up outside, you put a garden in or something, you can kick activity up. But if you take a haunted space and you wall it up, you add walls and you make it to where it's separate family living, then in some cases it sounds like it actually shuts down the activity.
Right. And it does. And then you hear where it's a rundown place, and as soon as you start to do restoration to it, it's like the house comes to life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So
it is interesting also that, especially since the I Heart Justin, and I mean, it immediately goes to female energy, obviously, that, as you say, he was never followed. But, we don't know about that side of things. might take a certain amount of power or whatever they need to follow a person that they are focused on, right? Maybe there's certain boundaries that they just cannot cross, and going with the family and with Justin just wasn't something they were able to do.
Right. And that's the thing that just drives me, just ponders me, is why did the activity stop? Was it actually Justin's family? Was one of them maybe the poltergeist, or the haunted one per se? Because maybe it wasn't the property, maybe it was one of them, but they didn't realize it. I mean, there's so many theories that we could say about these experiences, but unfortunately, I don't know, because the parents never talked, and the sister really didn't really talk to us about what she has seen or had happen per se.
Yeah, that's a cool thought, that maybe it was Justin himself, and being that was like a perfect storm of maybe something, maybe there was water underground, some kind of an aqueduct, and there, because of the flowing water, or there's granite or lime in the substrate somewhere, that it became this amplifier, and then he became essentially a receiver, and then once he left that spot, he wasn't anymore.
Right. And I mean, since he is on a farm, they do have those water tanks, whatever else that could possibly produce some sort of energy. So, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. And again, that's where I wish I knew more about the property, because I'd like to know what else is there that would be considered, maybe like what type of minerals are around, even that could maybe be causing the battery effect.
Well, and let's face it, you guys on that side of the classroom have a longer history, and a very dark history in some cases, right? Of battles and things that have gone on that are not so positive, not always positive. So who knows what might have gone on that land? But that's all such interesting stuff. And I'm sure that Justin, I guess in a way, because all that wasn't, I mean, you guys moving on the bed, that very first experience is really weird, because especially, was it Justin that ended up on the floor?
Yes.
I mean, you tend to, I mean, yeah, kids sleep heavily, but for all three of you guys to not remember moving positions so, I mean, blatantly, especially poor Justin's on the damn floor. I mean, you would think that one of you would go, well, yeah, my neck was blah, blah, blah. I was sleeping on the this or that, so I moved, but none of you guys remember doing that. It's weird.
And that's what I mean. And it's like, well, if you really think about it with the layout, there's no way Justin could have gotten out of bed, because his futon bed or whatever it was, his king size bed, or for the example here, I guess I'll just say, like, it's right up against that window. So mainly, like, in order for Justin, if he even wanted to get out of bed, he would have to throw off his covers, and then he would have to almost like army crawl down the side there just to get out of bed. Or if he felt brassive enough, he would have to try to step over us. And again, that just would say all be signs of we should feel and hear this and everything else. So, especially, I wouldn't want to try to get up on a bed and try to climb over two other people, especially with one being right at the edge of the bed, right by the floor. Because you know, we don't want somebody to get tripped on, and then, you go face first on the floor from the bed.
Well, and you said you don't like windows, so you wouldn't have consciously woken up and gone, I want to go sleep over here by the window. Paul, has anything ever come up in your mind about why you don't like windows?
Oh, I'm fine about windows now, but at the time, I have to clarify, I guess it's like, so I have like a thyroid problem. So sometimes if I'm right by a window at nighttime and it's really cold out, it like affects my body temperature to the
Mm-hmm.
point where, like, my thyroid will basically make me become sick. I will get a cold or cough, or or my stomach will almost start feeling like it's got an upset stomach. So that's why I really didn't try to go near the window, because I just didn't know what it was gonna do to me per se.
Gotcha.
Because of, yeah.
That makes sense. Well, Paul, before I let you go, talk about your podcast, where everybody can find it. And then what do you guys have going on over at hauntedvermont.org, all of that stuff. Let everybody know.
Yeah, so hauntedvermont.org is basically all the stories I have collected throughout the Green Mountain, because why not? They're fun. I like to try to figure out what is available anymore or still around and not like closed down or whatever, which unfortunately some of these locations have. But this is my way of keeping their stories alive. And as far as that goes, I go out and I try to do my best to explore and make videos for YouTube to try to show some of these places off. And I try to conduct my own investigation just to see if there's anything still lingering there per se. Everything else. And as far as like the podcast goes, I started that in 2017, and just to basically again just connect with people to share their encounters, whether it be inside the Green Mountains or outside. Plus, I also been getting fascinated and learning more that I've never would have thought of as a way to basically help people maybe help understand and look at things differently, if that makes any sense.
And the name of the podcast is also Haunted Vermont?
Correct.
Excellent. I will make sure all of that is linked in the show notes for this episode. Paul, thank you so much for reaching out and coming on. It's been a pleasure to talk to you.
You as well, Shannon. Thank you.